Okay, everybody, welcome to Undisputed Podcast, where me and my co-host Jeff break down every pay-per-view from 1997, two matches from each one. We've gotten through WrestleMania 13, and now we're starting In Your House, Revenge of the Taker, 1997. And we each picked two matches, not the same, obviously. And my pick for the show was Mankind versus The Undertaker for the WWE title. Um, So the match starts out with an interview from Mankind. He gets all crazy. He pretty much says that he's gonna win, but on the Mankind typical hidden message type stuff that he used to do back then. Mankind comes out first with Paul Bearer and a fire extinguisher because they pretty much as a hint back to the fact that he burned the Undertaker's face on Raw. So Undertaker comes out next. He's got a patch over the eye and some visible scarring from the burn. Um, so Mankind starts out right away, just jumps on the Undertaker, quick brawl. Taker reverses into the corner and starts punching Mankind there. They announce to sell that Taker has blurred vision from the flame. And so Mankind goes after the eye, takes Taker to the ground, and keeps hammering on the eye. They go to the outside. Taker throws Foley into the steel barricade twice, and then once over the barricade. Then they brawl out into the crowd. But that wasn't very long. They only lasted out in the crowd for like 15 seconds. And then now they go back to the outside and slams Mankind's head right into the barricade. And nobody's at this point in time, nobody has beaten the Undertaker more than Mankind has. He had two victories over the Undertaker in 1996, both via mandible claw. So it's like Undertaker's weakness has been this. So it's kind of like, can Undertaker beat Mankind type thing going on here. So anyway, where was I at? Oh yeah. So Taker hits goes for old school and hits like a diving clothesline instead of the traditional old school off the top rope. Then Taker sets up for a tombstone, but he gets distracted by Paul Bearer, so he drops Mankind, and he goes over to Paul, and then turns around, and Mankind hits Undertaker in the head with an urn, and then he gets a 2 count. And he stomps and punches Taker for a while. This lasts about 3 minutes or so of doing just that. And then Taker ends up fighting back, but Mankind counters with a swinging neck breaker, and then Taker eventually gets up and clotheslines Mankind over the top rope, and then sends him head first into the steel steps. Then Mankind grabs glass and smashes it over the face of the Undertaker. Then he hits him in the head with a steel chair, and apparently this referee does not give a shit about disqualifications because he is not even budging or threatening DQ to any of these guys. Insane. So Taker's laid out on the floor on the outside. Mankind goes to the top rope and does a diving elbow drop off the top rope. And then they get back in the ring, and then Mankind hits a pile driver on the Undertaker. He gets a 2 count, and he picks him up and does another pile driver. And then they both get up, and Taker does that vintage flying clothesline where he like ducks. They bounces against the ropes, he ducks underneath the clothesline, bounces against the ropes again, then jumps and flips like for the clothesline, that move. Then he goes for a clothesline in the corner and sandwiches the ref. Mankind ends up getting the mandible claw in on the Undertaker. Taker looks like he passes out, but the ref's down, so a new ref comes in, and then Foley mandible claws that ref instead, like of letting it finish, costing himself the match. Paul Bearer throws a chair in the ring. Foley goes and grabs the steps. Taker boots the steps into Mankind's face, and then uses a vicious chair shot across the head of Mankind. Taker grabs Mankind's mask off because that's been like they say that it's been like shielding the blows from this, but if you look at Mankind's mask, it really wouldn't. But that's what they try to say. So he grabs the steel step, slams it into Mankind. Mankind flies from the ring apron through the announcer's table. Taker rolls him back in the ring, choke slams Mankind. Mankind kicks out at 2, and it's just absolutely nuts at this point because it's not like current day product. Back in 1997, if you kicked out a finisher, it was crazy. And then he got steel steps to the face and went through the analysis table before that. So it's absolutely nuts at this point that he kicked out. And Taker picks him up, and he ends up giving him the tombstone, and that'll be all she wrote. 1, 2, 3. The Undertaker retains the World Wrestling Federation Championship. And then after the match, he goes and gets Paul Bearer, and then after several botches of trying to ignite the flame, Taker finally grabs it after knocking down Mankind and lights the flame on Paul Bearer's face, and that's how they end the show. This match was a pretty good match. I would say it's just a shade above average. I would give it 6.5 out of 10. It's very entertaining, and they have to have a lot of spots, and I think the reason why the referee didn't disqualify them is because Mankind's not like great of a technicianal wrestler. He's more of like a hardcore spots guy. But then why didn't you just make this match no disqualification? That's my only problem with it. Is like it hurts kayfabe wise. Like if you're gonna be like, it's a regular match, blah blah blah, and you want it to seem real, and the referee's not disqualifying these guys, it takes away from kayfabe. So I would say that knocks it a little bit of my score. But it's a fairly entertaining match between these guys, and they really they use the burn scenario. And then after the match, with the storyline, he burns Paul Bearer. And I really think it was originally supposed to be Mankind that accidentally burns Paul Bearer while trying to go to the Undertaker, but you can see Foley botches trying to turn on the flame several times. So at that point, Taker just takes it and does it himself. So I love the storyline arc here, and the fact that Taker had Mick Foley had been his kryptonite. So when he kicked out the chokeslam, watching this back then, you were probably like, oh my god, he really can't beat the Undertaker. So it was just good, and they didn't hurt Mankind a lot because it took a lot to beat him. I mean, he kicked out of a chokeslam and going through the announcer's table and all that kind of stuff. So he took a beating before he was beaten. So it didn't really hurt either guy. Overall solid match. I'd recommend watching it. Again, Revenge of the Taker, 1997 main event. Very good stuff here, and we see more from these guys in 1998, and can't wait to cover that because I know that'll be one of my matches at King of the Ring. So see you guys then. Let's see what Jeff has to say.